Hi, everyone. Our subject today is about the knowledge, but in particular, if a community, a society can really produce that knowledge. So I gave it the title, Producing the Knowledge. Now, last century, Arab countries produced and presented in public 3,000 poets. Some were forgotten together with their poems, and some may probably last for a short or a long while. But these countries did not produce one single scientist. And to fill the gap and to brag about such fortune, they reminisce with its own. You know, they recall something in the past related. They bring back memories of over 1,000 years. Hardly we find their traces today. Forgotten things, that is. As those countries' citizens migrate to Europe and to North America in vanity, showing the influence of their forefathers, they had on the Western Renaissance and civilization, forgetting that, yes, they benefited from Averroes ibn Rushd and Avicenna ibn Sina and others, but they built upon their knowledge and upon their science and did surpass them, while we Arabs recycled vainly the books of Al-Ghazali and Ibn Taymiyyah anti-clockwise instead of keeping Averroes and give them Al-Ghazali and Ibn Taymiyyah. We gave them the wrong person. We gave them Averroes and Avicenna, and we kept Al-Ghazali and Ibn Taymiyyah. But if we gave them Al-Ghazali and Ibn Taymiyyah, we kept Averroes and Avicenna, well, maybe you would have made progress somewhere, as they did. But maybe after all, they would have thrown Ibn Taymiyyah and Al-Ghazali for their bad thinking and useless ideas. They would have got rid of them, definitely. And thus, we rested on crap of heritage, copying and renewing it, keeping us in a never-ending status quo, which makes our collective mind unable to produce any knowledge. So we got enclosed inside the box like. The Arab's mind is a standard mind that needs a copy to compare. Needs something, oh, like this, okay, better or lower, and so on. It's unable to innovate, cannot innovate, always copy. So it invokes the copy of the companions in the 7th century. Since they cannot innovate, they go back to the 7th century and invoke the companions' thinking, way of thinking, or geniusness, or whatever. and go around without progress, of course, because it's like going on a merry-go-round until those things are out of time. They keep on having them, even though they are out of time. Like today's, these are out of time, and we still reminisce and keep them, and just keep on remembering and applying them, and so on. The Arab collective mind is accustomed to asking what's permissible instead of asking what is forbidden. And this is how they think everything is forbidden. To this mind, until proven otherwise, this is how they, until proven otherwise, to their mind, it's everything is forbidden. Instead of asking how the mobile phone was invented, what do? First thing comes to their mind is whether its use is forbidden or halal. And they go there, and they dare go and ask the sheikh or any scholars. This has enshrined a helpless consumer and non-productive mind suited to dictators and rulers and clerics, assuming people with their conditions without change. So these kind of minds pleases rather the dictators and the rulers and the clerics. Why? Because they are subjecting themselves to them. The minds are subjecting themselves to those persons. Now, given that there is no better possibility than it was, which means the Arab mind thinks, oh, this is the best thing we can get. So knowledge became indoctrination without discussion. They get it from someone. Relying on form without content. They don't go deep. And universities are full of graduates, but not blessed with inventors or creators. And the term scholars came to mean clerics and never scientists of medicine or atoms or physics from near or far. We say the Quran is a sacred book. It is valid for every time and place and available for everyone. And the keys to understanding it relies within, provided its reading is carried out according to the knowledge ground of your time, not the time when revealed. Yes, the Quran has almost everything you need, probably, and you can understand it if you read it carefully because it is explaining itself and so on. But if we read it like we are in the 7th century, we're not getting anywhere. So we have to read it as if it is revealed today. Now, if you read it carefully, you will find that it is characterized by the consistency of the text with the movement of the content. Okay, the text is fixed, but the content, the meaning, is movable, is flexible. It'll be understood according to the time or the century or the age you are reading it, with infinite accuracy, always correct. Like the theory of creation of human knowledge, in addition to laws in history that apply to what happened during ages, knowing that it is not a scientific or historical book, which means theories that are in the Quran are precisely correct and exact, like we said the creation, which is the embryo, which is scientifically proven, and etc. Yet, the Quran is not a historical book, nor is a scientific one, but it has some signs like that. But if you separate what's historical and what's movable of its verses, you will find that Islam is the religion for humanity, which means if you don't mix all together, what's historical, take it as historical, and what's movable, which means what can be understood today, different from then and different from in the future and so on, then you will get to the conviction that really this is the book for humanity. And Allah is one for all the world, not just for the Middle Eastern. And that Muhammadan message is a mercy for the worlds. And it does not contradict with human rights, where people are equal, whatever their religion, color, or gender. In fact, man is invited to think and forethought as a responsible on earth to build, improve, and beautify. As for considering everything that is going on as a judgment and destiny from God, to it is a farce that brought us to what we are in these days, which means if we think or believe that everything is predetermined in the sense that we have no choice and so on, then it means that we are not taking it seriously, because the human brain, mind, and the free will is the most element that can deal with anything of these happenings. Unfortunately, the wise revelation became a book to decorate our libraries. And we read its verses in mourning councils, which means in death occasions, mourning, that the reciter transmit sadness to the souls of the listeners, while the Prophet's biography and books of hadith occupied the most important place in our religion. In our religion and in our religious sciences, they create science of the hadith, which is absolutely no science whatsoever. So believers follow blindly Bukhari and Muslim, who did not distinguish Muhammad the infallible messenger from Muhammad the prophet, who prescribed for his time according to the prevailing circumstances around him, which means should he prescribe something like today, they would never understood and follow, like probably prescribed a mobile. There's no mobile. I'm just giving an extreme example. So for his time, he prescribed things that can go along with the people. He was a man who eats and drinks and makes mistake. So Muhammad's personality and mission were confused with the fabrication of what did not happen. The hadith is based on this fabrication of something that didn't happen, of something that the Prophet did not say, and so on. And the interpretation of what the messenger did not say, yeah, that's it. In line with the political interest and the whims of the clergy, because the hadiths were created and fabricated to suit the clergy and the people in power. and the sanctification of religion's image different from what it is meant to be, which means like if they created a new religion somehow with the hadith. So if you find yourselves in new environment where no restrictions on your thinking and no limits to create, try to change your old thinking and habits. Maybe we reestablish our origins according to our ground knowledge of today. Thank you.